The Samsung Q990D is a premium soundbar at a premium price. But is that price tag worth what you're getting with the Q990D? At the time of filming, I saw that the price tag was $16.99. Now you could probably catch this on sale during Black Friday at a cheaper price, but I'm not exactly sure what that price is going to be. What are you getting exactly with this soundbar? Of course, you get the main soundbar, and then you get two speakers, which can be configured to a front stereo setup, or you can have them in the back for a more surround setup. The choice is yours, really. It also comes with a subwoofer. Now, this is a really powerful subwoofer overall for something that comes with the soundbar. This soundbar is going to use EARC to connect to your TV, and it also has an optical audio input if you want to go that route. Although I do suggest going the EARC route with your HDMI port. If you're worried about losing your HDMI 2.1 port, don't worry, because this soundbar has an HDMI 2.1 pass-through as long as the port that you're using supports HDMI 2.1. The design and the build quality of the 990D soundbar is really good overall. It's got a very sleek, modern design. I have to warn you though, the soundbar is pretty large. It will fit under most TVs, but you definitely want to measure to make sure that this soundbar will fit with the TV that you're using. Now let's talk about the performance of this soundbar. I've tested it with movies, sports, and of course, music. So let's get into some of those things. Watching sports on the Q990D was pretty awesome overall. I would say it's a very exhilarating experience when you're firing up something like a football game on the 990D soundbar. The dialogue from the announcers was very clear. I could hear everything that they were trying to say, and the actual hits that were coming from the football field, you could really hear that with this soundbar. It made it feel like you were on the actual field itself. And when it came down to the crowd noise in the stadium, it felt like it was all around me. It was a really immersive experience overall. I had no complaints whatsoever when I was watching sports. Now, when it came down to movies were awesome on this soundbar as well, especially action movies. The dialogue was still very clear, although there was a lot going on in the scene, because with some soundbars, this can definitely be a troublesome area for a soundbar to deal with. But the 990D had no problem at all handling the dialogue within a very busy action scene. Now, if you're watching a movie that's more driven with dialogue, you are going to love the Q990D. I think that this soundbar is one of the best soundbars when it comes down to dialogue, and if you want even more enhancement on top of that, you could even use the dialogue mode that is built into the soundbar. This is something that I tried out and I thought it was a good experience overall. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with dialogue in movies or movies that are driven by dialogue. Now, when it comes down to the actual Atmos experience and the surround sound experience, it's pretty good overall. You don't really get the sensation of things being above you too much, but you do get that sensation, that feeling of things being around you. So it does hit the mark when you're talking about a surround sound experience. This will fill the room to a good degree. Although if you're looking for a complete Atmos experience, I feel like you may be wanting a little bit more when it comes down to an Atmos setup. Although for a soundbar, it's probably one of the better Atmos experiences that I've personally had, so there is that. So what about music? The music experience when you're testing a soundbar definitely always depends on the genre, but I have to say the Q990D for music sounded really good overall for most music. One place where this soundbar really did excel though was going to be in the high end and in the mid-range. The mid-range and the high end for this soundbar really does stand out with anything involving acoustic instruments. You could really hear them overall. They sound very good. Almost like a reference level speaker at times when it comes down to the Q990D. The low end wasn't too bad on the soundbar, but I do have to admit, whilst trying out some hip hop or trap songs, you would definitely hear that the bass was a bit muddy. You also heard this within electronic music as well, and that is something that seems to be a theme within soundbars that I listen to. I can never find a soundbar that really nails the bass. It's unfortunate that you hear it here as well, but it's not as bad as I've heard on other soundbars, even within this price range. Now, when it comes down to the features that you're going to have with this soundbar itself, the soundbar of course supports Q Symphony if you have a Samsung TV, so that's always great to have integration within your TV. You also have things like night mode, which is pretty common on soundbars these days. Although some of these features are going to be buried within the Samsung SmartThings app, and you're not going to have direct access on the controller itself, so do keep those things in mind. I would say that's a con with the 990D soundbar. I really wish there was more shortcuts on the actual controller itself. The Q990D does really stand out as one of the better soundbars on the market. The biggest problem with the Q990D is that from the Q990C to the Q990D, there's not a huge improvement here. And from the Q990B to the Q990D, there's not really a big improvement there either. So if you have one of the older 990 series soundbars, there's no real incentive to upgrade to the latest model here. But if you're in the market for a soundbar and one of those two aren't available, the 990D is certainly the route to go. It is a really good soundbar overall, and it gets 2 thumbs up from me. Alright, well, I'd love to hear what you guys think of the Q990D. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.